Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us this fine day. Hope everybody's doing fine. Today, we're going to do a quick sketch. It's an action pose, and there's a lot of foreshortening and angle involved. So, if you have your pencils all set, let us draw ourselves a dynamic pose. I got this idea from another artist. We're going to give our own little spin to it. So if you could have a vertical line there, that is the torso that will come into play. I think that let's have the head somewhere here. So that'll be the head, and you could imagine that the shoulders will go somewhat like that at an angle. Now you're going to come down, and the body is like bending backwards like that, so we have to imagine there will be some angles going in right there. So chest and the lower torso somewhat like that, because we have the knee right in the front here somewhere, and the other knee far back right there somewhere, and of course the foot like that. So if you can just add shapes like that, and then this could pretty much go like this, and we'll put in a foot right there. So you can see that this is coming out to be something that is already quite super, in the sense that a lot of foreshortening going on there. So a bit of the arm will show from this side. What we are having is two fists right in front. So we have one large fist like right here, and we have another large fist right around here. So what we're going to do next is just give that dimension there, a box on going like that, so that way and that way, because that is the direction the fist will take. This one will actually come right here. So we will start off with putting down the object most in the foreground, and in this case it happens to be this particular leg. So as I mentioned, there's a lot of foreshortening involved, and it's coming together already. We go into the other leg, so let's get in some quad. It's a dynamic action pose, and if you could somehow utilize this for some realistic scenarios, it will be awesome. I mean, this is a very dynamic pose in the sense that it's not very commonly used. Yes, foreshortening is always used in like pop culture media, but I think even conventional sketches could have something like this, and maybe there can be an amalgam of some realism in there, but again, that is a possibility left for another day. So what we have here is we have to come forward with this fist. So we'll use the coil technique. So that is the curve that we're going to work along. So the delt, and there is a portion of the upper arm, and of course the forearm, if it will show. We will see how this comes together, and there's the fist right in front. Similarly, right here is the fist. Now this one is slightly bigger than this, so we are going to do 1, 2, 3. So we are working our way. Actually, everything is pretty much behind that fist, in other words. So we'll see how this again works out. And there's the side of the body, the chest. I think this side will be more apparent than this. This will be hidden by the fist. And there's the collarbone. And what we have next is, let's put the face, instead of looking up, let's put it like tucked in to the collarbone, because there's an effort going on here. and just that tall will do. And I think if you could work the eyes like that way, it'll be more realistic. So there's an effort being shown here, and that is the main or the central torso coming together. So then we come about and we'll put the fist down. So there's the thumb. So one, that's the second one, 3 and 4. So the fist is complete, and I think that a little bit of forearm can show here instead of on the other side, a little bit over here of the shoulder, and it'll do. And right here the same exercise, except that you could make it a little more dynamic and have the fist showing from this angle. So we will go like this. And we'll put in the thumb right there, and there's the other fist. And in this case the shoulder was already down here. We'll show a bit of the forearm like, and a bit of the hand like so, and that should actually work for us. And there we are. So kind of a kung fu pose, but one that can really do wonders for even a casual sketch of any character. Now if I would have some shading coming down, let's say that I have some tones that I have to drop in with a light source coming from above, so I would just, to make this more dramatic, fill in wherever I have shapes hanging over another object. For instance, right here, the head above the chest, in which case I just put down some tones right there. Then of course, if the chest is more apparent than not, then I will put in some tones under there to make it more apparent. And there's a part of the delt, so there's some of the bicep, so we're putting in some shading there around the forearm right here, and of course around the fingers and behind the fingers, some shade going on right there, some shade right there in the thumb and the curl of the hand, and of course right under the hand there in the lower part. And you could even put in some shading like right here to show shadows, and there's some vacuum right there. And of course, now depending on what kind of a costume, let's say that he's wearing some, we'll give him some slacks. So let's not leave him in the cold like this. So he's wearing some slacks. So there's some folds. But at the same time, I'm putting in tones right where they should be, darkening the objects that are farther away from the light than others. I'm working along the folds there. I am putting in some knee shadow right there, and then going under the heel, letting it come down a little bit under the heel, under the ankle, sorry, under the ankle, and going into the heel. It's darkest here. Of course, you could have different and varying tones, but it does not necessarily have to be that way. And then of course some shadow going right there, and right here will be pretty much the same exercise, just under where the fingers curl, and you could even give some accentuation on the knuckles. Okay, so there we have it. dynamic action pose. Please do have your own variations going. You could have like hands going like this. Actually, the one I saw had hands like this, so it was like a Hadouken from a Street Fighter pose, but I found like this to be very dynamic. That can also work. You could have hands joined together and going like, this way, so fingers will be pointing out, and that can also work. It'll pretty much utilize the same getup, but and the fingers, so the fingers of this one going this way, fingers going this way. But right here is a dynamic pose. You could like, give him some weapons if you want. So, holding maybe like, daggers, or it can be like a Wolverine-ish thing with the claws going, or with some, like lightning and bolts effects, and that really works. So thank you for watching. Please do let us have your comments, your thoughts. We appreciate it very much. Please do subscribe and keep in touch. Have yourself a wonderful day.